Welcome to the Crypto Beat, where we discuss what's happening right now in the crypto space. My name is Tim Copeland. I'm the editor-in-chief of The Block, a crypto-native news site. Joining me today, we have Inal Kardan, partner at Tom Ventures and former gaming lead at the Tom Foundation. We have Bazina, the CEO of Gamee. And we have Hamster Girl, a community manager for Hamster Kombat. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Hello. Thanks for having
Hi.
us.
Hello.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone, for joining. So, before we get started, I'd like to mention the Block is doing its first ever event in Prague in December this year with some of crypto's biggest names. If you head to emergence.xyz and use the code TheCryptoBeat, or one word, all lowercase, at the checkout for 20% off. Right. So now, today, the focus of today's episode is on the Telegram gaming ecosystem. We have super experienced, knowledgeable people, and we're going to just dive straight in. So, now, what's your, I guess, overall take on the current sort of Telegram gaming ecosystem right now? Like, sort of, summarize sort of where we are in the space right now.
Well, good question. At the same time, really hard to answer because on the one hand, looks like we're at the peak of this whole movement around Telegram games, with obviously most of them with the ton integration. On the other hand, with my experience regarding games and gaming in general, I would say that there are many things still to happen in the Telegram ecosystem. I mean, we've seen this huge growth of tap to earn and hyper casual games, but we're still to see more mid-core games, the other genres and other types of games to grow. So I would say we're on the peak on one of the let's call it hypes, one of the types of games, but we would see more in the future, definitely. So on the high level, I would say we are not at the beginning yet already, but not at a peak of all different types of genres yet as well.
Cool. And Bazina, what's it like moving into the Ton ecosystem? Because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but sort of Gamee's existed for quite a while before sort of all of this started. So yeah, how's that experience been like?
Yeah, so Gamee is one of the OGs on Telegram. We launched our first games on Telegram 2016. And so we can compare the time before Tom blockchain and after. And I think there is so it's first of all, it's great to have this experience, right? Because there has been an opportunity to distribute games for a really long time, and we could see people being hungry for gaming. So since 2016, we would have 200 million gameplays every month across our portfolio of games, organic distributions, people sharing games through conversations and chats. But there was not really many tools or tech to build anything that would connect the games, monetize, basically create anything beyond individual gaming contents that would share virally across Telegram. There was a moment in time when Ton blockchain came in, a lot of network effects and connecting different tools and companies within the ecosystem, and some successes accelerated everything. So when Inel describes the cycles, this is exactly how it felt. It was like a lot of silence, almost nobody on Telegram. Suddenly, a lot of activity, a lot of traction. It was almost like the most important thing is to go fast and just be there. So you have first-hand experience, and with the first data, first experience of the team, figure out what's next, how to go deeper. So the very first thinking that we have seen also for us as a team, but also across all different companies, was just let's just launch something really simple, really fast, and get some first data, get some understanding, and then go deeper with some knowledge. So for us as a company, we already had data, we already had behavior and some understanding what people want. But having tools to build with blockchain, with ownership, with wallets, of course, is fairly new. And I also feel like we're past that, do something simple really fast. That kind of has already peaked, but we're at the very beginning of figuring out how that thing actually works, going deeper.
Okay, cool. And Hamster Girl, what's the state of the Hamster Kombat community like right now? Like, is there still a lot of excitement about potential airdrop in the future?
Oh, that's a good question. First of all, thank you so much for having us, for inviting us and creating this conversation. I just think that the tone ecosystem does not have enough credit yet, but it will be thanks to you guys and thanks to your coverage. Well, the state of the community is, let me just tell you, we saw a huge interest and a huge anticipation, right? And this hype, as Ian, used before the word like hype. And now things, I must say, they're cooling down a little bit, but just because it's just the natural cycle of the game, right? You have the hype, high anticipation, and then people are getting tired a little bit. And it's okay, we know that, but they are very involved. Oh, so much. So many comments, so many sarcastic snarks at times, but they are very much so that's something that I was surprised by, that the community is very active. I don't think they sleep. I don't think they eat. They just kind of play the games and comment. That's what I figured.
Yeah, cool. So I guess a big part of it must be people farming the airdrop, sort of waiting for that to happen. And it was sort of, I think, announced and then pushed back. Are you able to share any insights into sort of the reason for the delays, like sort of why it's kind of been pushed back a bit?
Yeah, of course. And I think it's very important to talk about, because despite the fact that I posted so much about this, people tend not to, I don't know, believe in what we're saying, or just having their own perspective of what's going on. And I appreciate the question. The fact is that when Hamster Kombat was created, in a good way, nobody anticipated that much of attention. So the fact that we gathered 300 million users, if I'm not mistaken, in June or July, I'll double check with the team. It's tremendous growth. And what we expected before, right? We expected just a general, ordinary launch, and then airdrop, and things are pretty smooth, and people know how to do this. But then the growth that we got, it's so tremendous that we now require a certain technical solution that nobody in the industry had. And we're working right now with Ton, actually with the Ton core team, to develop that solution. And that's the thing. Imagine, conducting an airdrop to 300 million people at the same time. Nobody has ever done this before. And it just takes time. There are also negotiations and, a lot of calls daily involved with different partners that are, different platforms that are involved in this process. And that's why it takes time. So it's just to ensure that our airdrop as smooth as possible. Just imagine getting upset, getting 300 million people upset. That would be unpleasant, to say the least. And so that's what we're working on the solution that will allow us to do this as greatly and as smoothly as possible, so everybody could get their airdrop at the same time. Otherwise, it's going to be a huge mess, just a huge one.
Yeah, for sure. And then also, like, I mean, a big challenge, I assume, must be like bots. Like, it seems like, unsurprisingly, when it's, everyone wants to farm an airdrop, people sort of see how many accounts they can farm it on. We definitely have sort of experienced it in terms of when we've had Telegram groups share our stories, and we get like insane number of hits to the website, uh, of which, some of it's real traffic and then some of it's sort of clearly automated. How challenging is it to deal with like the sort of number of bots, and ensuring that the airdrop is sort of distributed to real people?
Here's the thing, right? We actually touched on this one with one of your reporters, right, in the interview. It is not, well, we don't have more bots than NotCoin did before the airdrop. Here's the thing. We cannot allow people not to play on different devices. That's the thing, right? So they can play at different, using different devices. So that's something that we don't consider bots, right? It's just people having different accounts and trying to farm as much as possible. But when it comes to bots, first of all, sometimes you can tell that there are bots. just by behavior, right? But sometimes you cannot because the amount of players are just insane. And the game itself is really complex. And on the back end, we're introducing new cards and new daily combos every single day. So sometimes it takes our resources from that. And the bots that we see, we ban them. And before the airdrop, we're going to be cleaning the area a lot. We have been doing this as much as we can, but also it's going to be the focus of preparing before the airdrop, just to ensure that these are real people that are getting the airdrop.
Cool. And Bazina, have you like dealt with sort of the same issue?
I think there are bots and cheating in games that like since ever, like since games existed, there was cheating in games always. And if there is any anticipation of a reward or anything monetary, of course the motivation gets even higher. I just want to point out it's not exclusive to coming up to airdrops. This has been in gaming forever. So it's like an ongoing back and forth with gaming companies to identify the patterns, disable the cheaters, kick out the cheaters, ban bots, and then they figure out again. So it's like a consistent loop of getting better on both sides. Unfortunately, it's part of the business. So yeah, as Hamster Galaxy, like whenever like we have analytics and systems to spot specific behaviors, we ban them. But it's not one off, like it's not one and done. It's an ongoing thing that has to run in the background all the time.
Yeah, and just to add to that, you can actually automate that, right? I think Rosanna would agree with me. This is not something that you can automatically do, because otherwise you'll be banning people that are real, but just acting like
it also
bots.
happens, yeah. And then you get even more conversations in chats, like I'm unfairly banned. It happens all the time, all the time.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a continuous balancing thing.
Sure. And then in that, I was kind of curious, as an investor, how do you look at these sorts of like Telegram games and things where it's sort of designed around the idea, sort of primarily, at least in early days, of sort of people farming an airdrop, with, I assume, most people's intention is to sell the airdrop once they get it. I mean, you saw it sort of with the Blast ecosystem. Everyone sort of farmed it purely to sell it, and then obviously the token price just sort of goes down because that's what 99% of people are there for. As like an investor, how do you sort of navigate an ecosystem where there is quite like a bit of a common theme? You might be on mute, by the way. I think he's frozen and he's gone. Okay, so technical issues, I guess.
Question was too harsh.
Yeah, maybe he feel offended. I'm just out. I'm out. I'm
Just
not dealing with
quit.
this.
Yeah, the classic mute and then disappearance. Yeah, cool. All right. So yeah, I guess sort of getting back to focusing on sort of the games and building themselves. What's it like working with the sort of mini apps right now? Like, I know there's a bit of a update for them recently. Are they like easy to work with, challenging? Are they getting better? Yeah, how's that working?
Wait, are you asking
That's either of you.
me? Well, Telegram mini apps have historically been much easier to build on, right? And I think our lovely guest would agree with me today, because it gives you direct communication and interaction with users, and that's true, right? You have all of that right there on Telegram. I do sound like I'm PR pitching, but I'm not. I'm not, I swear. Here's the thing, right? It's easy. Everybody, I mean, a lot of people have access to Telegram, right? And so that's what they do. They play right on their phones, and it's much easier. I think, I think you're not on mute. And it's like, thank you. I'm praising Telegram here, so you would appreciate it, I guess. So yeah, and then they have direct access to users, right? So you can see companies have used different types of analytics. Google Analytics is something that all of us are using daily, and they're not giving that much insight in what's going on. And so Telegram mini apps also have different integrations that makes it pretty easy to connect to, well, a Ton wallet, right? So I'd say that it's just the experience is very easy. That's what I say. Again, I'm not PR pitching, just saying.
And do they have any challenges? Like, what's the hardest part of dealing with a mini app?
Okay, can I be straight? I think when it comes to Hamster Kombat, it's an issue of fast scaling. I would say that because when the growth kind of exploded and the amount of users that we were getting daily. And I think that's the problem to every single startup out there and every single even corporation, right? When you have tremendous growth, just like all of a sudden, it's putting a lot of pressure on the team, on your servers, on the technical capabilities of any platform that you're using. So I think that's the main challenge for everybody involved in this process, not only for Hamster Kombat, but also for Ton in this case. Like to onboard so many users, you have to ensure that it's working smoothly. And so yeah, so as you can see, the fast scaling or fast growth is not always easy, I'd say.
Pazina, have you had a similar experience?
Yeah, certainly. I think that for Telegram mini apps, there are some specifics launching games in the context compared to, for example, launching games on a website or with an app store. And it's just the nature of the medium is it's very easy for people to come in. There is no friction of the download, etc. It's like really straight away in the experience, and as easy as it's to come, it's to leave. So if you look at the data and you're in gaming, you would naturally look at retention curves, right? So you would see what's the percentages of people that come on the second day, 7th day, 30th day, and then you would be looking into when building a sustainable game or like long-term business around gaming, you would look at, okay, what does it cost me to get a user, or what does it cost me to reward a user compared to what is the value of the user that can generate in the game that is my business model, right? And you would look into how many days they stay or what are the value actions they can do. Now, the challenge is a little bit different than building in mobile gaming space because the cost of user acquisition is very low, close to none, if the growth is viral or product-led growth. However, to build retention is a lot more challenging, and the curves look very different to what you know from mobile games. Especially in mobile gaming, once you lose the person, they're probably gone forever. But in Telegram, we see that it's very easy for the person not to come, but then again, start coming again like a week later because of the low barriers to entry and leave. So there is a very different pattern of behavior where people really flow across different Telegram mini apps, and then they would come back in waves and leave in waves. So there is, in terms of gamification, building metagame, building retention mechanisms, there is a very different game design even challenge that respecting the environment where the game is just a very different thing. So I don't know if that's a benefit or a downside, it's just a fact. It's different. It's more viral, but also easier to lose people because they just go elsewhere and forget about the game. For the discovery itself, the more mini apps, the more pressure on the discovery, right? So the discovery is now driven by virality, product-driven growth. But the more invites you get from friends for 50 different mini apps, this breaks a little. So the biggest and the largest players will probably get even bigger. So the discovery is going to change over time as well. So in the early stages of the discovery, 100% viral. In later stages, when the platform gets a bit more mature and has more content, there will be a pressure on the discovery, which will be very precious resource.
Can I jump in here? Like, I just wanted to add that speaking about retention, to be honest, there are some tools like good games, as we can see from the like Ton Ventures and formerly from the Ton Foundation side. Good games and good gaming teams, they use Telegram, like, I mean, different sides of Telegram to retain users. And this is very important for game developers to use all these tools. By these tools, I mean, first you have a bot, which is always associated with your mini app. It means that you can set some kind of like notifications to like retain users, to reactivate them. Also, you have like all these communities. I mean, probably Hamster Kombat community is the biggest one on Telegram right now with like tens of millions of users. NotCoin also have like around 10 million subscribers on their Telegram channel. I mean, you can use different features of Telegram to retain users, to reactivate them. And you just have to know about these things. You have to actually design your game keeping this in mind. For example, you have to ask your users to subscribe to your channel, because this is one of the best ways to communicate with your community. So I'm just saying that on the one hand, yes, it is definitely harder to retain. On the other hand, you have like tools that are not available if you develop, for example, a mobile app. And this is because of the nature of Telegram. You have to use all of them to get the maximum as a game. And yeah, this is quite challenging for inexperienced game developers, but for game developers like Bazen and their team, this is like well-known fact that you have to use Telegram from different sites.
Sure. And how do you achieve hypergrowth with these? Like, obviously, we've seen with both of your games that the sheer number of followers is crazy. Like, how do you kickstart that momentum and really get that many users?
Can I jump in here as well? I just want to say that regarding discoverability, which is actually the biggest issue for new games, I would say, because the biggest problem, if you design your game properly, your users will invite a lot of users, right? So if you make your game viral, you give your users either incentives or just like fun, so they would invite their friends. Everything's going to be okay, but the biggest problem then is discoverability. Like how people first, I don't know, 10, 20, 50,000 users will know about your game. This is the biggest challenge for new games. And this is about discoverability as well. Here, there are like, Telegram actually introduced a thing that they call mini app store. To be honest, it is not like a very obvious place for many developers yet, many users yet. So there is like, if you tap on the search, there is like a tab called apps, and you can find like trending apps there as well. But this is not like a very intuitive solution. But there are other tools like, for example, Telegram App Center. I just wanted to mention that this product solves the problem of discoverability for new games. So the flow looks like, first you design your game properly, so users will invite their friends. And then you go to like catalogs like Telegram App Center, where you can get there's like tens of thousands of users. And with that, everything should be okay, because I can share statistics. For example, for NotCoin, 94% of users were invited by their friends. So you just need some kind of like a kickoff to start. And then if your game is designed properly, you'll have like a tremendous growth rate for your user base.
Anyone else want to weigh in on achieving hypergrowth?
It's really well said. What usually also works is going after different pockets or communities. So figuring out what can be a fit in terms of interest or proximity to the type of gameplay or the narrative you have, and then just work with the community. So in like, usually what we have as a tool available in Web3 is we can offer a reward for a specific community, right? And have that as an invitation instead of, for example, doing a campaign with a specific advertising budget. Instead of putting the money into an ad network, you can try offering a specific community something as a reward in that game and use that as a campaign, attracting a community of a specific size. That sometimes works for virality and hypergrowth faster than if you do individuals by friends. Of course, the friends referral system is very powerful if people have a reason to invite friends, and also people have reason to accept the referral, which is a super important part of that, but also going after specific communities. To give you an example, for example, Gamee recently did a collaboration with NotCoin where we would offer a reward for everybody who is holding a balance of that coin. They would come to the game and they would claim the reward with the balance in their wallet. So it's something that doesn't require for NotCoin anything to do, because the holders are public on chain, and we can check whether they have a specific balance or not, and we can use this as an invitation of a specific community to come and explore a game. So there are mechanisms like that. It's thanks to blockchain that we can do that, and we can collaborate in any way we want. Look into, do people have a specific asset? So this is a collab we did between Ethereum communities and Tonchain. So we would do the same thing. We would have a list of partners that, like list of NFT communities from Doodles to Pudgy Penguins, Mochaverse, etc. So everybody who's holding that specific NFT on Ethereum could come in, log into Telegram, and get a reward in that game. So this is another approach, kind of UA, but not really. It's collab/UA invitation to a community. You can experiment and play with that a lot.
Cool. And how would you say NotCoin is sort of faring out in relation to other games? So for instance, so I spoke to Sasha recently, and he said sort of following the airdrop, the whole idea of NotCoin was to sort of be a way to encourage people to experience other Telegram games. So I think his idea was a bit like being a hub that sort of like rewards people for trying out all sorts of different games in very much in the same way you said. Like, has NotCoin sort of built up that sort of status in the Telegram ecosystem for doing that, or is it sort of more like, one-off things?
It would be better for NotCoin people to answer, but in our case, we did exactly this type of collaboration. So I think Gamee and Whitebird was one of the first companies to actually execute on that. So it went live right after the launch of the tier systems, and it really worked. So we saw a lot of people coming in and playing and claiming their rewards. So in this sense, yes, there's still work to be done, of course. There's so many companies to connect with and to build a network effect. There is a lot more work to be done.
Yeah, interesting. And then you mentioned as well sort of like advertising partners. Like, one thing that's really interesting with Telegram games is how many users you have and the ability that you're able to direct them any way you want. So like, if you say you get 10 coins for doing this task, they do the task, which sort of has helped, like it's quite self-serving partly in terms of like all the Telegram games have huge followings on every social media platform because they incentivize everyone to do that. But I guess your point is that you can then use that power to also make money even prior to the airdrop launching, because you can have companies essentially pay you for onboarding. And like I see with a lot of the games, they have a lot of exchange partners. It's like you get these tokens if you go to this exchange and sign up and use the exchange. So I guess I guess there's one thing that's interesting there in terms of like that it actually makes these games can make money pre-airdrop, and then also since Telegram, like because of its accessibility, it seems to onboard a lot of people, and then you can then take the people who many of which may be new to crypto, and then help them sort of get into the crypto ecosystem. And I'm curious, I guess, is Telegram becoming quite a key onboarding tool for potentially like non-crypto people to end up on an exchange buying and selling crypto?
Can I jump in here? In my opinion, this is like the main goal of Telegram and Ton in terms of like Web3 right now, to onboard as many people as possible into Web3 through like, I would say if we look at the user journey, it should look like users who are new to crypto. They firstly interact with the game, different type of games. Because again, I like to share these numbers because as we all know, like about 100 million people all over the world do something related to like traditional financial markets like stocks, ETFs, whatever. About 4 billion people play games. So the best way to onboard people to Web3 is to let them play something, because like half of the population of the world play different type of games. So let them play something and then slowly onboard them into Web3, different types of different flavors of Web3. They can start with, I don't know, centralized exchanges. They can I don't know, get their first airdrop and go make an exchange on a DEX. Then they can go to the wallet at Telegram and I don't know, stake their tokens. There is a earn program for users. So this is the goal. This is the vision of Tone right now, how to onboard like hundreds of millions of users into Web3. And as we can see right now, it works, because I want to share here like two stories, if you don't mind. The first one is about like one of the games. I don't want to say any names here, any like names of the games, but I know that one exchange, like Tier 1 exchange, came to them and say, hey, we want to have our task integrated into your game. And the task was to go to the exchange to create an account and to pass KYC. And that game actually closed a KPI for that exchange, like 6 months KPI in 3 weeks. It shows how many new users these type of games can onboard to Web3. Again, different flavors of Web3. Even centralized exchanges is some kind of onboarding to Web3, right? Another story I want to share is I've been to Nigeria like 3 weeks ago. As we all know, this is one of the biggest markets for games on Telegram right now. And my main goal was to understand how people actually use crypto there. Do they actually use crypto? And I was that weird guy stopping people on the streets and asking like, hey, do you use Telegram? Do you play like any games on Telegram? So I literally interviewed like about 100 people on the streets. And I also was on a Ton event, but this is like non-representative. But I'm just like, I like stopping people at like even in small cities and asking like, hey, do you use Telegram? Have you ever played like, I don't know, games on Telegram, etc. And according to my very like small but survey, many people, they were onboarded to Web3 because of games on Telegram. I mean, they say that their first crypto was NotCoin, period. And now they try to use like something that they got from Not. I don't know, they try to reinvest, they try to, I don't know, even there are products like Pump.fun, I mean like launchers of meme coins on Ton available on Telegram. And many people started like doing, for example, that. I mean, investing in this kind of like meme coins. So I'm just saying that that was the hypothesis at Ton Foundation like a year ago, that we want games to be an onboarding mechanism to Web3 in general. And as we can see, it works.
I would
Yeah.
absolutely agree with that. Can I just jump in and add? I would absolutely agree with that. Well, first of all, Telegram, I think, is the largest social platform that is friendly to Web3. We never hear anything from any other social media company or messenger app. Never. Like Durov is, from what I can gather, is pretty much pro crypto, like crypto friendly, let's call it that way. And so at the beginning of our journey, it was that kind of helped us boost the growth, and people who were already using Telegram, they were easily onboarded to the game. But now I think it's a tango, right? Because we're using also other platforms like YouTube, for instance, right? And we produce so many videos every single day. We have news daily, we have news weekly, and we also have academy and like sort of a little bit of a storytelling there, investigations and stuff like that. And with you now, how it works is with YouTube, we onboard people who are unfamiliar with Telegram, right? Because we have like huge YouTube channel, and so they learn through our content, right? Educational, entertainment. We're using like different mechanics to engage new users, and so they get familiar with crypto, and then they learn who we are, and then they join Telegram. So I think it's a symbiosis at this point. Yeah. So but to your initial question, yeah, Telegram is definitely a way to go.
Cool. And then one thing about the Telegram games is a lot of them are sort of primarily clicker games. you just tap a button, and then there's sort of the whole airdrop meta. Hamster Kombat obviously sort of has that as a big part, although it does have more elements to the game. But sort of once the sort of airdrop farming element sort of passes, are we going to see more and more actual sort of real sort of games that are more just sort of fun to play, regardless of any sort of token airdrop? I mean, I did notice with like I played quite a few of these Telegram games with Whatbird at least. I sort of felt like I was playing a game. Like I was like, oh, this is a sort of a fairly sort of classic game style. Do we think we're going to see more of that like going forward?
Are you asking me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with me, right? So I'm actually glad about this question because when it comes to Hamster Combat, what we're working on, and I know that you've mentioned that, and everybody who's on X these days, you can see that people are kind of anticipating the airdrop, but it's not all about the airdrop. In our case specifically, it's more about building an ecosystem. A huge ecosystem that provides utility and long-term demand for the token. And I think that's what upsets me personally, and I know it upsets a lot of people on our team, that people are just complaining about the airdrop being delayed, not kind of recognizing that at the same time we work tirelessly every single day to add new features and to collaborate with gaming platforms outside the Web3 system to bring them in and to build something very sustainable. We have this idea, I'm not sure that I can share a lot at this point, but first of all, there's season 2 when it comes to Hamster Kombat. Second of all, there's definitely a huge ecosystem with, I was allowed to mention a little bit of a maybe payment options, right? I was allowed to hit you guys about this. So the plan that we have at this point is so tremendous, and we're working on providing utility and ensure stability and growth, and that's what's important, because I do understand, and I think I'm speaking on behalf of the entire team, I do understand why people are frustrated and that they're waiting for the airdrop, but it's not all about the airdrop. It's about sustainability, and it's about providing people more than just certain amount of tokens when the airdrop finally comes. So that's what it is. I'm upset about this. That's what it is. I'm upset of community not understanding that. I want to say this on the record. I'm upset.
Can I jump in here as well to talk about like different types of games? Because just a week ago I actually left Ton Foundation, and I was like GameFi lead at Ton Foundation, and I was talking to like hundreds of teams. I wanted to say tens of teams, but I would say it's like hundreds of teams. And obviously, some of them want just to build, I don't know, clicker games, like idler games, but most of them start building like mid-core or closer to mid-core games. It means that people would play those games not just to get an airdrop, not only because of that, that can be one of the reasons, but just because, you cannot play mid-core game if you do not like the whole gameplay. This is not about that. So I'm just saying that there are hundreds of teams building mid-core games. Development of mid-core games usually takes a bit more time. So I would say like in the next 3 to 6 months, we will see more and more mid-core games launching on Telegram with the Ton integration. Right now, one of the, I would say, most successful, not hyper-casual games on Ton is called Gato. Actually, I love this game, and I love the team there because this is an example of how you can make, on that one hand, like a good Web3 integration, on the other hand, like good game. So I'm just saying that there are already some examples of this kind of like games which are more games rather than just like mining mechanisms, and we definitely will see more in the like 3, 6, or even 9 months, because production time for them is a bit more than for hyper-casual clicker games.
Yeah, I can only agree. So it's a matter of time, because it just takes more time to make something more complex than simple. But also there are different definitions of fun, where some people would even, so we started like with something what's fast, so simple, like real clicker mining, then we changed that into the racing game. And what we heard from people was like, oh, you should have kept the mining because the racing requires some skill. It's a lot harder. So it's like some people have different definition of what fun is. And it really stems from like really intense competition into more completion motivations, where people want to have something done, like complete a level, or even like short dopamine loops, like short feedback loops, such as the mining and tapping game, which even if you look into app stores, there is no airdrop, and so many tap games are so successful. I personally don't understand why. I'm not a tapper gamer, but there is something human that makes us do that, and we somehow like it. So yeah, whatever people prefer, if that's their definition of fun, fine with me. We started with the company with something fast and simple, so it was really mining, tap and mine. We changed that into a small arcade racing game. There is a lot of development for the Wattbird universe that has a range of games that go after different motivations and gamer personas. I think onto your question, like the airdrop anticipation is a concentrated attention. And when we hear people asking about the coin, it's something kind of we navigated them into because, like we opened the topic for the hype. It's a concentrated attention. I do understand it, why it sometimes takes the conversation away from the actual game, but post any airdrop, post any token launch, what really matters is can you fund the fun from like a sustainable business model? And this is like the ultimate question we had in Web3, like what is a sustainable business model and how do you build that, right? So we changed the narrative many different times: play to earn, play to own, play and own, tap to earn. And I think what we're seeing specifically with Gamee as being something that's at least in casual, hyper casual space where you have a lot of attention. So you have a lot of eyeballs, mass gaming audience, and you need to build a business model on a couple touch points. And Telegram has the tools, which is very good because we didn't have that before, all of that in Web3. So the tools are like be able to monetize with ads for people who are not ready to pay, not yet ready to pay, so they can give you some value back, have a possibility of people to purchase something in that game, and any possible other ways to monetize the attention, such as you mentioned, for example, that having people do a specific task, which then can have a specific value, can be offered to a partner. So this is kind of like a layered approach that creates value for the company. So then the company can take part of it and give that back as a reward. So regardless of any airdrop, any token, this is something that like as soon as you have attention, you have a game, people are having fun, you can monetize it and give back. So we're still in Web3, but we're something on like this has a really strong ground.
Okay, cool. That makes a lot of sense. And then Inal, I asked you earlier before you dropped off, how do you see the airdrop meta in terms of investing in Telegram games? Is it in terms of like if people are, a lot of these tokens are for people to sort of farm and potentially sell, how does that affect sort of what projects you look for when investing in this ecosystem?
Yeah, I actually wanted to answer this question. It's a brilliant question. From the venture side, from the investment side, actually, we consider all these like tap to earn meta as just an acquisition channel for teams and products. I mean, we believe that teams like, let's just take NotCoin's example. For them, this is just an acquisition channel, right? They acquired millions of users, and now they're launching like different games. They're launching other products. They announced like a couple other like tools for the ecosystem, and obviously, maybe they will not earn a lot on NotCoin. I mean, as a company, as a team, because they do an airdrop. They have to market it. They have to do. They had even like a lot of infrastructure expenses, etc., etc. But they still have like 40 million people, right? And they can try to, I don't know, launch other products. Let's imagine someday, just imagine, NotCoin or any other team with tens of millions of users launches a DEX. More sustainable, like a Web3 product, right? And they convert, I don't know, even 10% of their users or 5% of their users, they convert to DEX users. And they start getting fees from that, like more sustainable Web3 product. And for us as investors, all these like tap to earn games, to be honest, it's an acquisition channel for other products, other types of games, or for, I don't know, their next mid-core game or whatever. So we look at this as mostly just an acquisition channel, and free acquisition channel actually. And I mean, by free, I mean you do not spend, I don't know, $2 on every single user. Almost free, okay. And yeah, for us, we always expect something more. If team comes to us and says, hey, we actually launched a clicker game and I don't know, we're looking for investments, my first question is going to be, okay, what's next? I mean, what you are guys going to do with the traffic that you already have? Because this is, to be honest, again, all these like tap to earn games, it's all about traffic. You have traffic and you have to monetize it somehow. Here, I want to say like thank you to Hamster team, by the way, because they showed how games can monetize their traffic not only on Telegram. Their YouTube channel has 35 million subscribers. They have more than 930 million views. I just looked at it. I'm waiting when you guys will pass 1 billion views on YouTube. And as you can see, Hamster team can now monetize these number of subscribers on YouTube, for example. They can launch, I don't know, I mean, one of the biggest YouTube channels probably right now. I mean, one of the fastest growing, at least, YouTube channels, and you can monetize this. So again, summarizing it, for us as investors, when we see like games with millions of users, we want to see what is the next step and how exactly you're going to use the traffic that you already have. Because all these tap to earn games, this is about acquisition, and next steps should be like retention and conversion to like paying customers and getting something out of it as a company, as a business. So this is our view on all this like tap to earn meta.
Nice. And
thank you for recognizing that. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Where do like Telegram ad rewards come into this? Like, I don't know if it's maybe like too small revenue, but I mean, you have very sort of big channels. And I mean, I notice even with, like, I run a very small crypto news aggregator called One Crypto Feed, and even that has like picked up a few ton in ad rewards over like the last few months. I noticed, you know, on the Blocks news channel, there's some there. So like, is that a growing source of revenue, or is it quite small relative to like other sources? Yeah, rather.
I'd say it's not insignificant. So it actually surprised me how well that works. So I'd say like at our channel is like combined 5 million subscribers, so it's not insignificant. So it's like basically marketing money that keeps coming to you. So that's I don't know of any other channel where that comes that naturally. I mean, like, we didn't have to implement anything. We're just building a channel that is a retention and a marketing tool for the product, and it monetizes kind of by itself. So I'd say that's very cool.
Cool. And do you plan to put it back into ads, or to just, you know, take?
Yeah. So we use that back as rewards, as giveaways, as ads. So it's ad money in, giving back out, fueling the growth.
Cool. All right. So yeah, we're going to wrap up shortly, but I was just going to go around the room and ask if everyone wants to give just a very quick thought on where they see the TON gaming ecosystem going from here. Bazina, would you be able to start us off?
Yeah, I think I'm hearing that from all of our partners and people in the ecosystem. It's on our roadmap as well. Just building more content. So we started with just being there and having firsthand experience, figuring out what people like, how they respond, how the platform works. But now it's like really the building time. So there is, in our case, there is a pipeline of Whatbird universe gaming experiences that go deeper into Web3 or even stay lighter. So there is a range of games. I'm sure every single company that's already on TON is looking to do the same. So we will see a broader range of genres, different depths of experiences on gaming. And I'm really excited about that, because we will shift from there is 100 tapping games there is a range of games that are designed with the context in mind, like how Telegram works, how the social network and how all the virality works and retention mechanisms. It's just like gives a lot of space for creativity. That's very exciting.
Cool. Maybe now, do you want to go next?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to be very like short and concise. I think that, again, as I already said at the beginning, we see the peak of this like click and tap to earn, but there are so many things to do on Telegram, and we are waiting for teams to actually start building other like social viral mechanics, like good Web3 integrations, mid-core games. So there are like really like, I don't know, 5 to 7 more genres that you can build on Ton, and those games can be successful from business side. So we're waiting for like more teams to finally deliver and finally see growth of other types of games. And from Conventure side, I just want to say, if you want to build like next type of game on Telegram, we are always open to like discuss investments, because we are looking for next types of games which are going to be big on Telegram.
Cool. And Hamster, go.
I'd like to say, we got you. We're working on it, trying our best. But I think to your initial question, Tim, I think Telegram, the Tone ecosystem, actually the Tone gaming ecosystem to be exact, has already shown what it can offer. And so many projects have joined the ecosystem, are building, honestly, not only tap to earn games, or in our case, like simulator games or meme coins. There are a lot more, as Enel already mentioned. And I'm going to shamelessly promote Hamster Kombat, as our goal is to reach 1 billion users, right? And to onboard them in the Web3. Just imagine if every single project on the Tone ecosystem has the same ambition. So a lot more users, hopefully a lot smoother process of scaling for everybody involved, but also just kind of to the moon. I think that's my answer. It's to the moon.
Awesome. Well, that's it for today. I'm going to wrap up now, but I want to thank all of my guests. It's been a really interesting discussion. Yeah, just a quick reminder to everyone, we do have an event coming up at the end of the year. It's called Emergence. And if you use the code TheCryptoBeat, all one word, lowercase, you can get a discount. Thanks everyone for joining, and have a good one.